Well, city councillors are trying to get to the bottom of what happened with the vacant home tax after thousands of residents received a bill for this, even though they or someone that resides on the property in question was questioned about it. Let's bring in our Mark McAllister joining us from City Hall. There is a lot to work through, Mark. So does the city actually have a plan to fix everything?
Well, I wouldn't say that there's any plan at this point. This is more about finding out what happened in the first place. Plenty of questions coming from city councillors to both city staff and obviously making their point about the fixes that do need to be made, but trying to figure out what happened in the first place. And questions of each other as well, questions of the mayor. We do know that 150,000 people or more property owners in Toronto have had to go through the process of getting that vacant home tax reversed at this point. City Hall now sending notices to the majority of homeowners not to pay the tax or the $21 late fee. But again, this is all about the questions at this point and trying to come up with some answers. Some of the questions we've heard: why wasn't a hold put on this when in fact they determined that people weren't going to declare at one point just a few months ago? One councillor, Councillor Pasternak, stood up and held the yellow notice that was sent out to homeowners last year and compared it to a white notice that was sent as part of the property tax bill this year and said, this is a way of communicating, this is not a way of communicating. In particular, lots of questions to Mayor Chow about how she may have been involved in all of this. Here's an exchange that took place between Councillor Brad Bradford and her.
You know what's the problem? Is the design of the entire program is flawed, and you were on council. How could it be that you got 100, citywide, 112,000 calls between the tax line and the 311 line?
So, Madam Deputy Speaker,
and nothing was done to clean up the situation.
As you can tell, it's very heated here. Obviously, everyone trying to get answers to the questions for what happened and why so many residents in this city have ended up in the situation they are in. What happens as a result of this? The hope is that there is an overhaul of the system. We're not going to get those answers necessarily today. Today is about getting the answers, trying to implore that the fixes be made before 2025 and making sure that staff get back to business.